Hi, folks. I'm here with Patrick Scoggins from One Nevada Credit Union, and we're talking about their Q2 implementation and how they used LemonadeLXP to help them with the human aspect of that. So, thank you very much, Patrick, for coming. I really appreciate you joining this conversation and giving us the time today.
Of course, man. It's my pleasure to be here.
So, I thought I'd start by asking you. So, what prompted One Nevada to change digital banking platforms, move to Q2? Do you have any sort of background on that?
I do, yeah. So our prime provider, we actually started with them, gosh, probably 20 years ago. Basically, we were their first real client. It was kind of a partnership with us and them. And we helped them kind of grow the company. They helped us establish a really strong digital imprint here in the Vegas Valley. And it got to the point where we're sitting at about 87% of our membership are all solely digital banking users. We've downgraded to where we only have a few branches here in town and we do everything online. Our penetration as far as e-statements, I believe, is at 92% on a monthly basis. So we're very, very heavily digitally based. But unfortunately, we got to a point to where we kind of plateaued and we were seeking different opportunities in different directions. And we found Q2 to be a better fit as far as where we want to go. And we signed the contract and we completed that conversion back on June 19th, so about almost 2 months now. And it's been very, very good so far.
So we all know about the challenge of, the technical lift when you're going through a conversion, but there's also the human aspect in getting all your folks up to speed on the new tech. Was that one of the challenges you guys were looking at?
It was more or less our staff initially first. One of the good things about our prior provider was they were always good as far as giving us testing platforms and items to test out. And we tested it thoroughly before we give it to our members. And Q2 is the same way, but our staff, depending on where their expertise, I guess you can say, is in digital banking, we want to make sure they're on the same level as well. So getting them trained up first was definitely key because this kind of conversion is going to affect all members, not just, 5 or 10%. It's going to affect everybody. So that was what we're looking for, is to get them all trained up first. That way they can answer the questions instead of them all coming to me. I can't answer 87,000 questions by myself.
I mean, you didn't want to get pounded with questions for 2 months?
Exactly, right.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So is that what sort of first prompted you to explore LemonadeLXP and to think that might be a fit?
Actually, I was brought in a little late to the project, but initially we were just looking at a more, just a different way to train, I guess. As you know, I'm sure as your company is based on more the game type aspect of it, like training can be meticulous and can be kind of boring. And we're looking at we were tasked to look for different avenues on way to train and make it fun for our staff and our membership. And when I brought into the project, I was sold after the first meeting with Joel during one of the sales calls. But we got our branch senior vice president involved as well, and she loved it. And just it's a different take on training, and it's fun. And that's the key thing, is making it fun. So initially, it wasn't meant to be for this, but it very, very, very quickly grew to where that's what we're going to base it on, and that's what we use it for. Solely and almost is for that conversion.
Yeah, it's actually our number one use case. And I remember when I was first talking to the One Nevada team, there were a bunch of other use cases. So I know that the Q2 conversion was kind of late in the game. So did you use it to augment what Q2 was doing, or did you use it sort of exclusively as your principal way of training people on the Q2 tech that you were implementing?
Well, to be honest, initially it was meant to be a way to train them after the fact, I guess you could say, on how to do it before we get to the members. But we got our hands into Q2 pretty early. And our one of our main Kool-Aid developers, Kyle, he made these courses along with some help from retail operations. And by the time we had our in-person training with Q2, Karen Barkley, the lead trainer, she goes, "You guys know this already. I don't know why I'm even here." Like we were telling her things we discovered during the course of our training with the Lemonade stuff, that actually this isn't how it works. This is how we found it worked. She's like, "Oh, well, I guess you're right." So she was kind of taken aback with how deep we got into it and just how granular we were able to get into Q2 using, the Lemonade platform. So
that's amazing. So you guys were through the implementation actually creating content in Lemonade and then disseminating it to staff. Is that how the process worked?
Pretty much, yeah. So even though it was a test environment, we still, did all of our testing. So to preface that, One Nevada is very, very, very deep in testing our own stuff before we do anything else. So we're not going to give anything to our membership or even our staff until myself, sitting the rest of the team, we test it thoroughly. So during the course of that, we said, hey, let's make sure we get our screenshots in advance and do some training on it and get it ready. And that's what helped us be even more ready for it, I guess. But yeah, during testing, we got all the screenshots. We would go back later because Lemonade is so easy to use. We would just change some of the text or change a few screenshots because we changed text or we changed visually how something looked in Q2, and it was super quick and easy to do that. So we're like, well, let's do it, and it made it that much even easier for us. So
you made heavy use of the technology walkthrough feature that allows you to quickly author walkthroughs of the tech. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
So that you could author the flow of the transaction you were trying to emulate, but then it was easy to change after. Is that?
of course, yeah, by all means. Like, so a case example is there's a new user enrollment process, which is brand new for our membership to do this. We went through it probably 7 or 8 different iterations, but whenever we would make a change, it was just a simple new screenshot, change some text, put it into Lemonade, and the course was published to be tested, hours later. So there was no us having to restart a whole training course, do new screenshots for every step. It was just one click, remove it, publish it, verify it, and then give it to our staff. That was a huge plus for us.
That's amazing. That I'll tell our team that because, or I'll let them listen, because that was part of the design criteria, was to make it super nimble so that during new tech implementations, we could very quickly create walkthroughs of transactions and react as they change during the implementation. So it's awesome to hear that you guys used it exactly as it was designed. So that's super cool.
100%. It was a blessing in disguise all the times, let me tell you, because we went through a lot of text changes.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. We changed text numerous times. In one meeting alone, I think I changed text on a screen 7 times before our management team said, okay, this is what we're going to go with. So it was very helpful.
Yeah, and those are sort of difficult things, right? You're always trying to figure out what's the ideal text, and it's a question of iteration, really, in those circumstances. Having designed stuff, software here, that one call to action might not be right, or a button name might not be right, and I find it's a process of iteration that you finally get it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very cool. And so you didn't evaluate any other platforms. You just had Lemonade already, and you're like, this is the perfect platform for helping us with the Q2 implementation. You just ran with it.
Exactly. And we currently in our training department uses Travator is what we use for our main, more for our required trainings, like BSA acts, things that we have to track and show, hey, they've done this, 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 and this kind of thing. And those are, trainings you have to do a certain method, like you have to do it a certain way. But for this stuff here, it was more, let's make it fun for the staff. Let's reward them. And that's how the game aspect came into play for the course. And staff bought into it. We had staff completing every course in a matter of weeks. And they were all hands in, doing it, playing with it. We got nothing but, praise and kudos for this new project. We had a couple that were like, I'm not a gamer. I don't like it. I'd have to do this, but you're always going to have those. But I would say probably 9 of every 10 love the product, love it.
Yeah, it's funny. When we do post training surveys, 92% of people say they would prefer to have all their training in Lemonade. So your 9 out of 10 is about bang on.
Yeah.
Did you get any sort of interesting feedback from staff on it? Like, other than they loved it, was there anything that stuck out?
Well, there's actually a few, which is funny because there's always 1 or 2 that they nitpick. And they look for things that are this or that, and they found things that we made mistakes on as far as training or text. We spelled a word wrong, or we forgot a character here. But honestly, nothing else beyond that as far as the training aspect of it. Some are requesting, how can I earn more points? How can I earn more members? Things like, or how can I earn more dollars? I think we chose dollars as our thing and members instead of customers for our different variables. But that was what they were asking: how can I do more? Which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, often what happens to our customers is they have staff saying, "When are you going to put more training in there?" So that's one that. Did you guys get that?
We have, yeah. But the ones that finish everything quick, they're like, "Okay, what's next? Give me more." We're like, let's implement Q2 first, then we'll give you some more.
And so, what about in terms of the result, in terms of the goal you were trying to attain, which was to drive Q2 fluency amongst your staff so that they can better promote and support it to members? How would you say it performed? Do you have any sort of feedback on that?
Well, in regards to the training, so when we went live on June 19th, we took bets. We said, when we pushed out this new digital banking experience, how many calls are we going to have? We had, some said triple the calls, some said double the calls. Our call volume went up roughly about 30%, I believe. We had staff on standby in the branches. We had extra people on the phones because they would call in more than likely. And there was no overflow. And the questions and calls we got, all the staff were able to answer them firsthand with no issues. And that's due in part to the training. There's always going to be pushback for people using new services or not liking change, but our staff were able to explain why we wanted this new process, why the change was, and we're able to explain its benefits. Again, all because of some of the training they went through, that they all went crash course diving into it, multiple times.
Oh, that's amazing. It pleases me to hear that, because that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to improve, because I think that the employee experience through a new implementation is often overlooked. That's a stressful situation when you're meant to support technology that gets put into the wild, as it were. And if you don't have great training, that can make for some long, tiring days, right?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
And so I'm really happy to hear that that's worked. Now, as you guys move into the next phase, and the implementation is done, and members are getting up to speed, do you have any next plans for Lemonade in terms of training that you're going to use it for?
Yeah, we do. Actually, a little segue. So we actually call it Kool-Aid. We did this whole marketing spill. We call Lemonade Kool-Aid at One Nevada. Yeah. And I wore my Kool-Aid shirt today just on purpose for the sake of this awesome meeting today. But yeah, we had a little Kool-Aid guy. We call it with a C instead of a K to avoid any kind of trademark stuff. But we're calling it drink the Kool-Aid, do this, do that. But we're starting to transition of some of our regular trainings. We did some hands-on HR trainings as far as just new employee hires, know your CO, know your different department heads. It's things that aren't necessarily required for any kind of auditing purposes, training-wise that way. As we get more products in Q2, like we're doing a new product called Prize Out, which is we're calling One Nevada Offers. We're actually working on questions and working on the steps in the course now to give it to staff to explain this new product that we're going to have out in a matter of weeks because of how quickly it is to promote. And we know that we can get it to the staff training-wise because how easy Kool-Aid is to use. I actually have one of my newer employees taking screenshots now, and Kyle, our course expert, he'll actually build that step in course in Kool-Aid, and then we'll have it out to staff by Friday. Then we can deploy the new product to staff by next Friday, and we're good. In our old days, it would take months to do that. We'd have to, test it, put it out, get training out, get, PowerPoints to them because they don't have access to our test environment. And Lemonade has shortened that drastically for us.
And so in previous implementation, what role did the tech provider play in the training aspect versus what you guys would end up doing to support the new software?
So we're actually a funny situation too, because back in 2018, also over in July, June timeframe, we did a core conversion. We went from Summit, which is an older FIS core base, to Scimitar, to Jack Henry. We're now FSS client. And that was another huge undertaking, but it wasn't member facing. It was just staff facing. Members would see no difference. But, we had multiple times Jack Henry came down and did trainings for us. We did tons of virtual. We had what we call SMEs, or system matter experts. I was one of those. We went to training for 3 months to be able to train our staff. For this Q2, we didn't have to do that. Like I said, when that trainer came down to train us, she said, "Why am I even here? You guys know what you're doing already." That alone let us shorten the time of conversion by 3 to 4 months in itself, which is a huge cost saving thing in itself. So that the difference is Jack Henry provided us a ton of training. Q2 gave us practically none because we did it all ourselves.
Do you have plans to use it for training on stuff that you would use internally, like maybe your CRM or other types of softwares that you need, particularly as new hires come on board? Tech training is a big aspect of a new hire. Do you plan to do that?
Yeah, most definitely. So our HR department has been involved in the course creation with us. Since we chose to make it go more towards Q2, is more been on our plate here in digital services and my team. But they're also doing courses too. Like I said, they do not so much the auditing compliance type, but they're starting to transition more and more. We have what's called a Compass training, which is more of our core training. And Emily, the other trainer, she's actually been working on implementing that into Kool-Aid or Lemonade for us as well, just to kind of to give that more value of it. Plus with that, we do still have to implement the Digital Academy, which we're working on that, because a lot of these trainings we have, they're easily givable to our members with just a few quick changes. And again, that's going to help lower our call volume and lower our in-branch questions and issues that pop up. So We definitely plan on implementing more Kool-Aid and Lemonade to our membership and staff.
Yeah, recently PSCU, which is a customer of ours, they actually launched an entire digital banking platform with Lemonade, and they were able to shorten talk time significantly, shorten and reduce post-call work in their contact centers by just giving better training to their staff. The other cool thing is they saw a significant reduction in attrition, staff attrition, because it's less stressful because you're trained and you got the right support tools to help people. So that's I'm really pleased to hear that that's helped you guys. Any insights or lessons learned that you could share with other FIs about going through a conversion like you did and using Lemonade? Is there any sort of things that you think people should know?
I would say that more is better. The more you do, the more you put out there. Get your staff in there playing with it. Make it as fun as possible. And like I said, it's no course or no topic is off the cuff. I mean, anything can be put in there. Anything and everything's going to work. Like you said, 92% of staff like the product and like the services. If they're going to play and learn at the same time, I mean, it's going to save you money. And literally, we've had 2 people, maybe 3, build the courses, and it's a very quick, easy process. So use it, build it, and they will come. Quote and field of dreams there, but they will come.
Yeah. And how did you actually? There's a good question. How did you promote it internally?
That's the Kool-Aid I talked about before. So we literally had a banner on our internet homepage that says, Kool-Aid courses or Kool-Aid. It has a little picture of a Kool-Aid guy. And kudos to our retail operations department. They actually put into place monthly awards to where the person who does the most Kool-Aid courses gets the most membership or points. They win an award. I think they're doing like an hour or 2 of time off, a little Kool-Aid trophy guy. And it took off like wildfire. And it actually became a monthly goal of theirs to complete this training, get this award, kind of thing. So, and everybody bought into it. It was funny because one of the staff that I used to work with in the contact center was always not very keen on digital banking and doing digital stuff. She was an older woman who preferred the old ways. And I think she won the award 4 months in a row. And she told me, Patrick, I love this. This is a great thing. This is so cool, which
wow,
is exciting to me because I thought she'd be a mainstay to not do anything digital. And here she is, one of our top users of it. So it's groundbreaking. It's an amazing product.
That's incredible. That's a great story. And it's great to be able to convert people who were sort of tech resistant, if you will. I think that's one of the big things about the walkthroughs is giving staff a risk-free environment, because it's stressful to go into a live environment and learn to use something. But with the walkthrough, it walks you through it. You don't have to worry about making a mistake. So I think taking the stress away has been, for what we've heard from other customers, has been an important element.
Yeah, for sure.
Patrick, thank you so much for all this information and for sharing your story. It's so valuable for us, and I think other FIs will find this valuable. Even fintechs, as they start to evaluate potentially using us as an implementation partner, this is great information for them to understand how they can reduce the amount of in-person training that they have to deliver and, the travel that they have to pay for and all that kind of stuff. So really, really helpful. So thank you very much.
Of course.